All right. Hello and welcome everybody to another JPB and Associates training session. Today's session is geared pretty much towards what I would refer to as the newbies or new advisors, new partners in the business of life insurance, annuities, ancillary products. It can be for somebody who just came in the business, or it could be for somebody who's been in the business for a couple years and really still just trying to find themselves. Trying to figure the business out, trying to find out what the best way is to do what I refer to as build a practice. Because that's what we're all in this business for. I mean, we want to make money, we want to help people, but at the end of the day, we don't come into this business to be here for 6 months or a year or 2 years. We come into this business to be here for retirement, to build a proverbial practice. So we're going to go through some basic stuff today. And I got to tell you, I've been doing this for over 27 years, and I have done hundreds, maybe even thousands of different training sessions over those times. And as I was going through and gathering materials for this training session, what I really found was just making it up myself from the stuff that I have learned over the 27 years was, I guess in my mind, better than just regurgitating some of the stuff that I pulled off some of the other websites, because you're going to get some real life experiences here. Real life prospecting, real life marketing, and real life building your practice. So let's get started. What would you say is the secret to our business? I got to tell you, I learned this a long time ago from a very smart man who's been in the business for 4 decades. And the words are basic. See the people, see the people, see the people. There's no other way to explain it. If you don't have conversations, if you don't see people, if you don't talk to them, you will not succeed in this business, because it is nothing more than a numbers game. There is no secret. And I got to tell you, I've heard this many times. Oh, he's a natural born salesperson. I've had agents with me over the years that I've sat in a car with, and I've talked to them about the presentation that we just made or the sale that we just did. And they may make the statement that you're a natural born salesperson. I got to tell you, it doesn't matter who you are in this world. There is no such thing as a natural born salesperson. Number one, I truly believe everybody in this world is a salesperson in some form or fashion, and we start off when we're young. We sell our parents on why we need to get that cookie out of that cookie jar by crying for 10 minutes until our parents give it to us. Then we proceed on in life, and whether we're sitting in a cubicle in a 40-hour-a-week job, or whether we're out there making sales in the insurance industry, we're selling somebody. We're selling somebody on whether we deserve that promotion, whether we deserve that raise, or a client on whether or not what we have is beneficial to them. And really, our business is just built around practice. Practice, practice, practice. You got to get out there, you got to experience it, and you got to talk to a bunch of people, because I promise you, somebody's going to give you something or say something that absolutely stumps you, and you're going to learn from it. And just like myself, you're going to come into the business and you're going to stumble over your words over and over. But the best thing you can do when you come into this business and you sit down and you meet with somebody and you have a conversation is, after that conversation's over, when you're on your own, preferably when you're driving home or driving back to the office, analyze the entire appointment. Not just what went good, not just what went bad, but everything. What could you have said different? Even if you made the sale, what could you have said different? And that's one of the best ways that you can self-teach and help overcome future situations that I promise you you're going to incur. Now, prospecting in our business is the lifeblood. You hear it all the time. If you don't prospect, you will fail. You will not be in this business. People come in the business being sold on how easy it is. This is not an easy business. especially the life and annuity side of the business. That side of the business is the highest paying commissioned product for a reason, because it's not the easiest product to sell. Now, here's the irony of that. The irony is, it's a product that most people need or will need at some point in their life. They're just not thinking about it today. So how do we get out there and how do we prospect? What are some of the things that we need to consider? Well, the first thing is this. Your goal, or my goal, this was my goal, this was always my goal, was to have a conversation with somebody that leads to talking about what it is I do and what I have that can benefit them. You notice I didn't say make a sale. We will make sales because when we get down to the end of the conversation, if they have a need and a desire, they're going to buy. But you can't get to the end until you start at the beginning, and that's a conversation. So the more conversations you have with people, the more success you're going to have in this business. And it doesn't have to be a conversation about business. I have taught some of the most successful managers and agents in this business, and one of the things I continuously say is this. You might meet with somebody or have a conversation with somebody 1, 2, or 3 times before you even have a chance or an opportunity to talk to them about what it is you do. And that's okay, because in a lot of cases, you want people to know you as a person before they know you as an advisor. And that strengthens what I refer to as the relationship, because in this business, relationships and practice go together. But how do you find these people? You know, agents come into the business and they are taught, you know, natural market, natural market, natural market. They call it a project 100, a project 200, a project 300. And that is extremely important. And that is one of the facets of prospecting. So let's look at a lot of different ways in which you can get in front of people to have a conversation. Well, the number one is a natural market. Now, this is Jim Park's natural market speech, not the industry's. The way I have taught natural market is this. Natural market is everybody that you know by face and name. It's not your friends and family. It's everybody that if you walked up to them and you said, oh, hey, Charlotte, how you doing? Charlotte's part of your natural market. You go up to John, hey, John, how you doing? Now, you may not like John. You may not want to do business with John. But John is still part of your natural market because you know John. You know who he is. So the key to this business when it comes to natural market and prospecting your natural market, the very first step is to take and list every single person that you know by face and name. Now, this is key. In the world of social media, we know a lot of people. We go out there on Facebook, and before you know it, we've got 3,000 friends. But we really don't know them. I don't consider them part of your natural market. But everybody else, the people you've worked with in the past, the people you know from school, your friends of friends, your neighbors, your family members, your friends of family members, associations that you have belonged to, maybe the softball team that you played softball with. Every single one of them are part of your natural market. Now, make no mistake, you're not going to go out and try to sell every single one of them, but they should be on your list, and you're going to find out why here shortly. But that's where you start, because in this business, I consider this business, when you enter it, there are 2 facets to entering this business. Your sales today that feed your family and pay your bills, and your sales tomorrow that build your practice and make your future. Now think about this. What is one of the best places to go to make a sale today? Go to people you already know that already know you. And that's where you start. Now, how do we build a practice? What are the other things that we can do? Well, one of the other things we can do is networking. And networking isn't necessarily just that B&I group or the F&I, which is Business Networking Incorporated, Free Networking Incorporated. There are so many other networking groups out there that meet for luncheons and breakfast, but those are very powerful. Now, I will tell you something about those. This is an opinion that I have on networking groups. They are not for you to go in there and start selling everybody in the networking group. They are for you to go in there and build relationships with a certain number of people that you feel comfortable in doing business with. There might be 10, 15, or 20 people in that networking group. But there may be a group of people in there that you look at and say, you know what, I'd never do business with them. If that group, if you can say that about somebody, you probably don't want to get their business cards. You probably don't want to start a referral base with them, because at the end of the day, they're going to be referring you their clients, and you're going to be referring them yours. And if it's somebody that you just don't feel comfortable with, I wouldn't necessarily go down that road. So in networking, you go in to find people, like-minded people, that you would like to build business relationships with, so that moving forward, you can share referrals. And this is key. Their reputation is your reputation, and vice versa. So that's the key to finding people that you feel comfortable doing business with, because you're going to be referring business to them at some point in the future. And if you refer business to somebody that you don't necessarily think you would ever do business with, guess what? That person you referred may come back to you unhappy. The other part about networking groups is this: you don't just go in immediately and expect to get immediate gratification. Networking is something you do, or networking in those groups is something that you do on a regular basis, so that as you move forward in that group, you start building those relationships and start building the referrals that come from those groups. Now, there's a lot of other networking you can do. There's social groups. There's young professional groups. If you, and this is something that I did for 10 years, my first 10 years of my career. My wife and I were part of a bowling league on Wednesday night. It was a bowling league from a specific company, Honeywell, which was a bunch of engineers. And over a 10-year period, I grew to know these people very, very well. And I got to tell you, I sold a ton of business from the bowling league and from the referrals from the bowling league. But yet I had a great time. My wife and I, as our stress relief, every Wednesday night at 6:30, we bowled. We socialized. And I built relationships. So it doesn't have to be just a networking group. It can be a bowling league. It can be a softball league. It can be a biking group, a hiking group. It can be something that you enjoy in your regular life, so that you can mix not only business and pleasure, but you can also build new friends. Events. There are so many different ways to event market. Some of the events that I've done in the past is we've done golf events. I am very big on doing events that involve children, because keep in mind, we want to get to people that give us the best opportunity to make a sale. And because we do life insurance, and life insurance is basically what I refer to as love insurance, if you go after families with children, you have a much better chance of possibly getting a sit down and a conversation that may move forward to business. So some of the events that we've done in the past is we've done golf events for middle schools, charity golf events. We have done events for, I love this time of year is perfect because Halloween. There are a ton of Halloween events going on at all the boys and girls clubs around the country. And those booths don't cost more than $25, $50, or at the most $100. And you can even share them with somebody else. Some of the things that we've done on cost sharing in the past is we brought in a Medicare agent, Mario. We brought in a health agent. We brought in a property and casualty agent. Other like-minded people that do not sell our products to have the table with us. And at those events, we don't sell product. We do giveaways. We do giveaways to get information and names so that we can call later on. It's not a solicitation booth. It's an interactive booth where we give away candy, or we give away, and we did this for several years. We gave away, we did a money jar where we would put money in a jar and we would have people guess how much is in the jar, and whoever came the closest was the winner. But at the end of the day, we would end up with 75, 100, 200, sometimes 300 names and numbers and emails of people that we can call and tell them, you know, listen, I'm sorry you didn't win, but I did want to introduce myself and tell you what I do for a living, to see if at some point in the future you might have a desire to sit down and have a conversation with me. Christmas. There are a lot more events at Christmas that you can get involved with. First thing you should probably do is call the local Boys and Girls Clubs, your church, because they do a lot of fundraisers where you can set up a booth. And I learned this a long time ago. Wherever you're at, be there. What that means is if you go to church, mingle with the people at church. If your kids go to a Boys and Girls Club, mingle with the people at the Boys and Girls Club. Wherever you're at, be there. Utilize that in your regular life. Leads. Leads can be a very effective way of prospecting. Now, when you do leads, one of my rules of thumbs, because I'm a numbers guy, is you need to, in your first batch of leads, and you've got to give it a good enough amount of time. You can't just get 3 leads and say none of them worked. You've got to give it a certain amount of leads. But at the end of the day, whatever that amount is, whether it's $200, $500, $1,000, my rule of thumb on leads is whatever market that is your niche market is where you should get those leads from. And there are so many different leads companies out there that you can purchase them from. But my opinion is, to make a leads program profitable, you have got to make at least 3 times what you put in to that original batch of leads. Now, you hope to make 10 times or 20 times, but if you're not making 3 times, it's probably not the right source. And the reason I say that is, if you put $500 up and you make $1,500 off of that, you've made your $500 back, you've got a $1,000 profit, so that you can take $500 of that and put it into the next set of leads. Now, again, 3 times is the minimum. And if you're making less than that, again, you probably want to reevaluate the leads program that you're utilizing. But you've got pre-needs leads, which are final expense leads, children's leads or new birth leads. Affects personal prospecting, where you have to run people through the do not call list unless you have permission to call them, not on business prospecting. So anybody that gives you a business card can be called. Every business out there can be door knocked. You are only limited to the amount of effort that you want to put forth when it comes to prospecting in this business when you are going after business owners. They are one of the most effective ways to build a practice. And if you're going after business owners and business prospecting, you definitely need to have the ancillary products, whether you already sell for Aflac, whether you already sell for Colonial, whether you already sell for another company. You know that JPB's core company is Allstate Worksite Benefits. You should be appointed with Allstate Worksite Benefits to be able to offer those ancillary products, in addition to being able to help the business owner with things like buy-sell agreements, key man insurance, key person insurance, and executive bonus plans. And I put this down lower on the list, and there's a reason for that. You know, a lot of these companies that tout referrals, a referral is probably the best way to prospect. And there are people that go out there and tout, ask everybody for referrals, but I'm here to tell you that my opinion on this is simply this. When you have provided someone with some type of service, advice, when you have helped them, you have earned the right to ask for referrals. Asking somebody for a referral that has no idea who you are might just be a little pointless. I'm not saying it won't work, but it might be a little pointless because that person has no idea who you are, what you do, and how you do business. So when value has been given to someone, and value is recognized, and that's key. You can give value all day long to somebody. You can give them advice. You can do a product for them. You can teach their kid how to hit a baseball. But when value is recognized, when they understand the value that you have given them, then you have the right to ask for a referral. And that will probably be your most effective way to have a conversation with somebody. Because now you are getting the reputation of the person who has referred you. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is go out and help people in many different ways, not just in our business. Donate time. Do Paint the Town and go out and paint a 90-year-old house. Dedicate some time maybe to a food drive, to a children's event. Because when you help other people, you truly are helping yourself. The old Zig Ziglar phrase, if you help enough other people get what they want, you will get what you want. Now, one of the most effective ways to prospect is nominators. Now, a nominator is somebody who knows and comes into contact with a lot of other people and is respected by those other people. Because again, I go back to networking. When you look for nominators, you want somebody that you yourself would do business with, that you yourself feel comfortable with. Because those are the people that you're going to be giving referrals to and getting referrals from. So here's an exercise for you. When you come into this business, you cannot do all of these things. The one thing I have preached to agents over the years is this, and especially on this training session, as you're taking notes, you may pick out 1, 2, 3, or 4 things that you might like to do. But do not do them all, because you will be lost in that hamster cage. You'll be spinning your wheels trying to get one of these up and running if you're trying all of them. The most effective agents in this business have what we refer to as niche markets. They sell everything, but they have niche markets to build their practice. And as they tackle that niche market, if it's business owners, if it's natural market, if it's nominators, what happens is those people start, of course, referring people to you as you refer people to them. And your business does what I call the Spiderweb Effect. My practice was built probably off of a good portion of my practice was built off of a handful of people that I built very good relationships with, that I refer to as my nominators, that over the years continue to refer me people, and those people referred me people, and those people referred me people. So what are some nominators? And here's the exercise I want you to do. I want you to write all of these down, and then I want you to go out and find, and you may already have some, one person in each one of these groups. Why one person and not 10? Because if one of my nominators is a property and casualty agent, that's P&C. That's somebody who has their own property and casualty agency out there. If I go out and I have 3 or 4 property and casualty agents as nominators, who am I going to refer my business to? And if they find out that I've got 3 or 4 other property and casualty agents that I'm referring business to, how are they going to feel about me when they're referring their life and annuity business to me? It's kind of like cheating on somebody in a way. Because one of the things that property and casualty agents are fearful of, just like we are, is somebody else stealing their business. So it's almost like a monogamous relationship with one P&C agent. Now, that doesn't mean you can't go out and find 5 different ones. Go out, hit the road, walk into a P&C agent, introduce yourself, tell them what you do, and ask them if they have a life or annuity agent that they refer their business to. If they don't, take them to lunch. Instead of spending money on those leads, spend $25 for a lunch with a P&C agent. Get to know them. Then go to another P&C agent. Get a group of maybe 3 to 5 P&C agents, and you pick the best one. The one that's been in the business or is aggressive enough to build a business that already has quite a few clients. The one that you feel will give you the best opportunity to expand your side of the business while at the same time taking care of your clients, because you are going to run into people who need homeowners, who need auto insurance, who need business liability. So this is a P&C agent is a match made in heaven, and here's why. You can split commissions with that P&C agent. And I promise you this, I have several P&C agents that I have relationships with because I had several agents that had monogamous relationships with different P&C agents. What they have is they have the same thing you have. They have clients calling in and saying, hey, do you do life insurance? Yes, I do. Remember, they do life insurance. They do annuities. But guess what? They don't want to mess with it. They're too busy taking quotes and making proposals for her car insurance, or for John for his motorcycle insurance. So what happens with that life lead is it goes in their drawer and they forget about it. So when you walk in, ask them, and you build a relationship, ask them this. Hey, I'll tell you what, give me a tester. If you have anybody that's asked you about life insurance that you have not serviced yet, test me. See how I do. If I do well, we can get you contracted. We can split commissions on everybody that you send me. Now, the split is up to you. And each individual agent can get advice on how to split with the P&C agent. If you like, I can give you advice on what I've done in the past. But get a tester, because once you do one policy for them and split commissions with them, and they see how easy it is, and they see how you take care of their client, they're going to then start giving you everybody, and it will snowball. And as you give them clients, they give you clients. Now, keep in mind, this is critical. They're licensed to do life and annuity. Almost every one of them, not everyone, but most of them are. But you are not 220 or 440 licensed. So the key here is protect yourself. Unless you're 220 or 440 licensed, you cannot split homeowners, auto, business liability. You cannot split with them what you give them. But they can split with you. Accountants. Who knows more about somebody's financial situation than their CPA, than the person who does their taxes? Every year between January 1st and April 15th, I get an average of 4 or 5 phone calls from clients saying, my accountant told me that I needed to put $6,500 away into my IRA to reduce my taxes. Now, annuity sales pay pretty good. So 4 or 5 $6,500 annuity sales guaranteed at the beginning of the year, pretty nice. But imagine if you had a CPA that did not have anybody to refer their annuity or their IRA business to. And that's the first question I ask when I go into an accountant. Can I ask you a question? Do you have anybody in the beginning of the year when you're doing taxes for a business owner or personal taxes, do you have somebody that you refer them to put money away in an IRA, or do you just send them off to the bank to open a CD? If they don't have anybody they refer them to, sit down and have a conversation with them. Take them to lunch. Build a relationship with them. You notice I didn't say ask them for referrals, because the key here is build a relationship, earn the right to ask for referrals. And I'm going to give you a piece of advice on accountants. Do not go to firms. I've been there. Even if the person that works in that firm is your brother or sister, what's going to happen is there are compliance regulations. They're not going to be able to give you the people's names, numbers, information because of the privacy rules. But somebody who works for themselves can do that because they assume that responsibility that you're going to take care of their clients. Real estate agents. Real estate agents, I might, and I did not put this on here, I might substitute that with mortgage brokers. Big difference. Mortgage brokers close the loans. If you can get a mortgage broker to add one sheet at the end of a closing, and that one sheet is, do you have mortgage protection that would cover you in the event that you get sick or die? If not, please put your name, number, and email, and we will have somebody give you a call. The real estate agent, and I apologize, I didn't change that. The real estate agent is good. They're good referral based, but they're on the front end of the sale. They're the ones selling the house or helping somebody buy a house. So I've gotten referrals from real estate agents, but they tend to protect their relationships because the sale hasn't been made yet, hasn't been done, and you may or may not get as much from a real estate agent as you may a mortgage broker who's sitting down with them. The mortgage is done, everything's taken care of, and all they have is a stack of papers that need to be signed. Business owners, we've discussed, there's so many different ways to utilize business owners as nominators. And again, you could have, that's the one group you could have more than one nominator. Because you could have a business owner who runs a produce company who has several different distributors. And remember, you're not just going after the employees. That business owner might have 7, 8, 10 distributors that deliver to them, that sell them stuff that they have relationships with. And remember, business owners know other business owners. So once you get in that loop and you help a business owner save money, save taxes, solve a problem, they're more than happy to tell another business owner who you are and what you can do for them. Attorneys. One of the more powerful attorneys is a divorce attorney. If you can build a relationship with a divorce attorney, what happens when somebody gets divorced? What happens is the husband or wife, whoever is the major breadwinner, may end up having to pay alimony, child support, and the attorneys write into the agreement that that person must purchase a life insurance policy, because if they die, guess what happens to that alimony or child support? It goes away. So in most of those agreements is written that that person must have a life insurance policy that is assigned to the beneficiary of that alimony or child support. Another one is an estate attorney. I personally have an estate attorney that has helped us with one of the largest cases we've ever issued. But you have estate attorneys out there that have a need for life insurance agents when it comes down to writing things like ILITs, which is an irrevocable life insurance trust, or taking care of estates. Health insurance agents we talked about. As long as that, and this is one of the keys, when you're interviewing health insurance agents, ask them, do you do life insurance or annuities? If they do, it's probably not the best relationship for you. If they don't, take them to lunch. Financial advisors, this is an unusual one. You got to be very careful with this one, because financial advisors may already have insurance agents within their firm, but if you have an independent financial advisor that does not have a relationship with a life agent, now you may or may not get a lot of annuities from a financial advisor, but there's a good possibility you might get some life insurance sales from a financial advisor. Most of them are going to be term insurance because the advisor is going to tell them, buy term, invest the difference. But that's okay. A lot of advisors don't want to mess with the life insurance side, and you can get a lot of term sales from it to protect their assets as they build their financial future. This is an interesting one, head of HOAs. Again, this is out there. This is more of your, okay, I'm in an HOA, let me get to know the head of the HOA. Who knows everybody in that housing development better than the HOA, the head of the HOA? Who will give you permission to do a seminar or do an event in the clubhouse for that housing development? The HOA. Mobile home park managers. This one, if you could find one mobile home park manager that you could build a relationship with, take to lunch, get to know, let them know what it is you do, especially if it is a 55 and up mobile home park. You then will have an in to do a breakfast seminar, a coffee and donut seminar. Bring in other people. If you do Medicare, you can do the Medicare. If you can bring in a health rep, you can bring in a property and casualty rep with you. But you have to get to know that mobile home park manager. And make sure it is a middle to upper class mobile home park, because remember, we are filled with those in the state of Florida. And there's a lot of very nice mobile home parks, and I promise you this, because I know firsthand, because a lot of them are clients of mine, there is a lot of CD money sitting in mobile home parks. They didn't pay $500,000 for their house. They paid $50,000. Where do you think the rest of that money went? It's sitting with Bank of America or Wells Fargo in a 3-month CD, or they got 7 one-year CDs that come due 7 times a year so that they don't have to pay surrender charges if they want to get to their money. More conservative-minded people. And then just sit back and think about who else you can think of, because there are so many different nominators out there. But these here, if you can put one name to each one of these and build a relationship with each one, you're going to be successful in this business. Now, we can talk about prospecting all day long. We can talk about networking, building nominator relationships. But unless you keep score, you're not going to make it past the first, second, third year. There are 3 principles of activity management. Number 1, we all know sales is a numbers game. See the people, see the people, see the people. 2, this is important. Quality activities produce quality results. You remember I said earlier, the events that I chose were events that involved children because of the products we sold. If you go after an event, a seminar, whatever it is, leads that are not it depends on the quality of your natural market. And I will tell you, it also depends on your quality. Because remember, how you've lived your life and who you are to the people you surround yourself with is going to dictate whether or not these people sit down with you and open up to you about their personal situation and their finances. And what gets measured tends to get done. If you're not writing down every week how many people you talk to, take notes about that appointment. Not when they got home that night. Because it may be 10 o'clock in the morning when you have your first sit down, and you may have 4 more after that. And then you plan on, at the end of the night, unwinding and writing down everything that happened. What are the chances that you're going to miss something in that first or second sit down or conversation that you had at 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning? You know, we can remember a lot. And I have had people with eidetic memories. But I promise you this, if you stop, write down the details, you're not going to have to remember that stuff. And you can focus all your energy on the very next sit down. The other thing that you can do in keeping score is this. We've worked on a point system in the past. Here's a couple pointers on things you can do to keep score. A point system would work something like this. I want to get 10 points every day. I want to have 50 points at the end of the week. So how do I get there? Well, a conversation is 1 point. A referral is 2 points. And a sales presentation is 3 points. So if you had 3 sales presentations and had 1 other conversation, in one day, that's 10 points. Those 3 sales presentations, that 1 conversation, is going to lead to money. If you had 10 conversations in one day, that's 10 points. That's going to lead to money. If you got 5 referrals in one day, that's 10 points. And that's going to lead to money. That's how you can keep score on a daily basis when you're trying to build your prospecting funnel so that you know that what you're doing is being productive. So you may go through a whole day, have 10 conversations with 10 people, and you're going home and you might think, you know what, I didn't get anything accomplished. You did. You kept score and you had 10 conversations. It's not always about making sales, even though sales are what pay our bills. It's about the activity before the sales and the keeping score. And I promise you this, if you don't follow up, it doesn't matter what you do initially. Make daily weekly, monthly, and yearly goals. The daily goals are easy. Go on a point system. Weekly goals. You can go on a sales appointment weekly goal. For example, I want to have 5 sales appointments a week. I want to have 7 sales appointments, 3 sales appointments a week, whatever that is, with whatever market you're in. I want to make 1 sale a week. A monthly goal and a yearly goal may be on income or maybe on prospects. But in one of these goals, you need to have at least 1 income goal. And it's usually the yearly one that you break down into a monthly. The one thing you don't want to do is break it down to a daily or weekly goal on money, because you may end up, you may have a week or 2 weeks where you did everything in the world, but nothing happened. You don't want to get discouraged because you didn't make a sale in a week. It might be disappointing, but if you did all the activity you needed to do, you should be proud of yourself, because activity creates results. And the key to this business is keeping the positive attitude every single day that you go out there. And I've already said this, but the most important thing is follow-up. I've seen agents do events, get 300 cards, and call 10 people. What a waste of time. Don't be that agent or that ex-agent. I've seen people do seminars, get lists of 34 people, and these are real-life situations, and not follow up on those 34 people. Follow-up is the key. That's why documentation is so important. That's why keeping score is so important. And as I said, activity without follow-up is just a waste of time and money. Now, marketing. There's so many different ways you can market yourself, and marketing and prospecting can be considered intertwined. In our business, there's so many ways you can put your information out there with social media. Whether it's building a website, branding yourself, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. There's so many different facets that you can utilize to put yourself out there. But I will tell you, as you put yourself out there, you want to portray the image that you want people to know you by, which really should be who you are. But if you're out there on social media, people do not know you. So your image is everything. And don't ever forget that perception is reality. What people perceive about you is true to them. Whether it's true or not, it's true to them. So make sure you protect yourself when you're creating this image. And it's kind of hard because Facebook goes worldwide. You make one bad comment on Facebook. You show one bad picture on Facebook. That might distort your image to 100 people. So you got to be very careful. Mailings. And I'm not talking about leads mailings. I'm talking about things like if you live in a community, you can pull up everybody in that community and just mail them a hello letter. Basically, it is a letter introducing who you are and what you do. And most importantly, that you live amongst them. We have a website in my neighborhood that everybody logs into to find stuff out that's going on in the neighborhood. Wouldn't it be nice to send everybody in your neighborhood a welcome letter saying, hey, my name's Jim. I just wanted to let you know that I live here on blank avenue, and I am a blank, and this is what I do for a living. If anybody would ever have a need or a desire to sit down and talk, or just had questions, maybe wanted some advice on something, but didn't necessarily want to move forward, please feel free to give me a call, email me, or shoot me a text. Church bulletins, golf scorecards. We did that when we did the golf events. Professional magazines. Now, if you go to church and your church has a magazine, has a bulletin, I'm going to give you a piece of advice on this. If you're going to put your information on the church bulletin, two things. One, make sure your picture's on it. That way people know who you are. The people that don't know you by name will see your face on the bulletin, and they'll see your name. And here's the second one, and this is going to sound crazy. Ask them if they will put your information upside down. Ask them if they will put your picture and your information in the bulletin upside down. How many people seek out life insurance? They do, but it doesn't happen all the time. It happens when somebody actually experiences a death or a sickness in their family or a friend, and they get scared. Well, if somebody opens up that church bulletin and they see Jim Parks and they see a picture of me upside down, guess what they're going to do? After church, they're going to come up to you and they're going to say, "Hey, Jim, did you know your picture's upside down in the bulletin?" Step one done. I got them to talk to me. So what do I say? Yeah, actually, I did know that. I just wanted to let people know that I'm different. That can be very powerful in getting to know everybody in your church, because I promise you, they're going to see your picture, they're going to see it upside down, and when they see you, and it could be any bulletin, it doesn't have to be a church bulletin, it could be an association bulletin. When they see you, they're going to say, "Hey, did you know that your advertisement was upside down?" And your answer is, "Yeah, actually I did. I just wanted everybody to know that I'm different." Building a practice. For those of you that know me, know that my motto is relationships build a practice. If you sell somebody and you never call them again, you're not going to build a practice. Because everybody that you have a conversation with, everybody that you do business with, should be on your list to communicate with in the future, whether they bought from you or not. And I have a philosophy. You can have a lot of personal relationships and you can have some business relationships. Everybody you have a business relationship with, you should have a personal relationship with. May not be deep, but it should be some type of personal relationship. They should know you as a person, not as an advisor or a broker or a salesperson. People like to deal with people they like and trust. Very important. Because I promise you this, they may buy from you. But if they don't necessarily like the process that they went through, they're not going to refer you. And that leads to this one. If they enjoyed their buying experience with you and felt that you were genuine, trustworthy, and knowledgeable, you're going to get referrals from them in the future. Maybe not next week, but you're going to be the one they think of when somebody mentions something to them, and your name is going to come out of their mouth. I've already said this, but I'll say it again. Project the image you want everybody to relate to. That is so important as you move through your career. Stay in touch with your clients, everybody that you know, on a regular basis. But please, we're human. Think about yourself. Think about the person you've done business with, you've bought from. If they called you over and over, and every single time they call, it's about business, and they're calling you 4 times or 5 times a year, what are you going to do the next time they call you? there's a good chance you might let it go to voicemail. So when you communicate with your clients, if you communicate with them 4 times a year, make 3 of them personal, whether it's a text, whether it's an email, or it's a phone call, or in person because maybe they own a business and you shop there. Make personal comments, engaging conversation, so that when you do call them about business, they pick up the phone or they answer your questions. And the other part about that is when you engage people in personal conversation, business will come up. Because as you're talking about their son's graduation, they may come back and say, you know what, we do need to talk because I need to start saving for my retirement. Just because they had you on the phone right then and there, or they had you in person, they'll bring up the fact that they're wanting to move forward with something because, again, they like you, they trust you, and they feel you're knowledgeable. What do you do next? Simple. Make that list of everybody you know by face and name. When you do that list, go through that list and star out everybody that either has kids, owns a business, knows a lot of people, is very respected in the community. And start educating them. Give them a phone call. Stop by and have a conversation with them. Do not try to sell them. Stop by, have a conversation with them, and educate them about what it is you do and how it is beneficial to other people. Because they may not have a need for your product at this time, but their brother might, or their parents might. And just by letting them know what it is you do and engaging them in that educated conversation, even if you walk away, letting them know what you do and nothing happened from that, you might get a call 4 weeks later from that very person because they have a need, something disturbed them, or somebody asked them about something and your name popped up and they wanted to give you that referral. But how would they know what you do if you didn't have that initial conversation with them? So that initial conversation is not a sales conversation because you do not want to push them away. It's an educated conversation about what you do and how it has helped other people. Not a long conversation, and it mainly discusses the benefits, not the products. And don't discriminate with who you know and who you put on that list, because you have no idea whether that person that you never want to do business with, because maybe they're a second cousin that you just don't necessarily care for one reason or another, they still should know what it is you do, because you have no idea when that person's going to make a contact and put your name out there, and you're going to get a referral from somebody that says, hey, Tommy, your second cousin gave me your name and number. I need to talk to you about X. And then, of course, I finished this off with see the people, see the people, see the people. Take what you've gotten here today. Break it down to a couple things that you know that you feel comfortable doing, because different people feel comfortable doing different things. Some are comfortable on the phone. Some are comfortable face-to-face. Some are more comfortable with their natural market. Some may not have a natural market. Whatever it may be, make the list of your marketing techniques you're going to use. Make your list of nominators, and then start making contact and having conversations and educating people about how special your portfolio is and how it has been beneficial to other people. Thank you, and have a great day.
Thanks, Jim. See you soon.